Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Alex Thomas here, back with another video for you guys. Today, I'm giving you guys my review and my thoughts on Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, directed by a new person. We got Christopher McQuarrie coming in. I think he's directed Jack Reacher with Tom Cruise. That's probably why he brought him on to do this movie, if I'm not mistaken. Did he make that? Yes, he did. I was right. I was right about that. And yeah, so he's coming on to direct, and he will go on to direct. Basically, he kind of does like what David Yates does with the Harry Potter franchise. He comes on for this movie, and he makes every single one leading on to the last one. And I think it was an awesome choice. I think it was a great choice. It's also starring Tom Cruise, Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, Vin Rames, Jeremy Renner, Alec Baldwin, and yeah, we got some new cast. We got some new players coming into the game. We also got returning characters coming back, and I'm very excited to talk about this movie. If you guys have been enjoying my Mission Impossible series, please hit that like button. Please subscribe for more, and let's get into this review, you guys. Let's get it. Let's go. Like I said, this is Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, directed by Christopher McQuarrie. And I don't know if I talked about this later in movies, but I think Tom Cruise has said he wanted different directors to come on and bring their flavor onto the Mission Impossible franchise. But something about Christopher McQuarrie that Tom Cruise must really like working with this guy, because he has not been replaced since this movie. And it's understandable, because the way he shoots these action sequences, the way they're played out, the way the pacing is with this movie, it's amazing. It is spectacular. I remember when this movie was first coming out, and of course, coming off of Ghost Protocol, we were like, how the hell they're going to top the freaking Dubai scene, him hanging off one of the tallest buildings in the world. Of course, we see it in the trailer, and it was one of the last shots in the trailer. He's hanging off the side of a plane while it's basically going up in the air. And it's really Tom Cruise doing it. He is really on the side of that plane like a crazy person, hanging off of the side of the plane. And what the crazy thing about it is, that's the first scene in the movie. And we think, oh, like from Ghost Protocol, they kind of like put everything in the first act of the movie. No, this movie, they definitely don't do that. The way the action sequences are paced out in this movie, it's great. It's great. It's great. I got to give shout out to Christopher McQuarrie, because I think he did a great job with the direction of this movie. I love just the color palette of the movie. It's got like a orange brown tint to the color palette. I love that as well. And yeah, I think Christopher McQuarrie did a great job with this movie. Let's go ahead and get into the story. Basically, Ethan Hunt is back, and he's now, going after this rogue nation called the Syndicate, because they're out here doing all these terrible things in the world, like blowing up nuclear power plants, taking down aircrafts with, hundreds of people on it and stuff like that. And it's Ethan Hunt's job to take down the Syndicate, but the IMF doesn't believe the Syndicate exists, and they believe that he is the rogue agent that is out here doing all these terrible things. And now Ethan Hunt is on the run, and yeah, we basically have just a story of again. And of course, we got some new players put into the game. It's crazy that the start of the movie, the reason why the IMF gets disinvolved is because the mission that they start in the beginning of the movie, they kind of fail the mission. And it's crazy that most of these movies start off like that. Like something happens, the mission fails, and they end up being disavowed, and they have to go all in it by themselves. And I guess that's the point, because that's why it's called Mission Impossible, because there's no way they should be able to do all this stuff without the help from the IMF, because they've never had their help from the IMF. I think besides 3, if I'm not mistaken, I think 3 throughout that movie they had a lot of help from the IMF, but throughout Ghost Protocol and this movie, there's no help from the IMF. There is no IMF in this movie. They get erased. They get disbanded in this movie, and everything goes to the CIA, which is led by Alec Baldwin, which I really like Alec Baldwin in this movie. I think everyone is great. Of course, Tom Cruise is again on the top of his game, doing most of all his stunts, driving a motorcycle like a crazy person. Simon Pegg is really good again. He gets a lot more to do in this movie. He's a great, I think his comedic timing is great in this movie. It's not over the top. I think it's just right for this movie. We got some, like I said, we got some new players into the ball. We got Rebecca Ferguson introduced as another like rogue like agent for the British intelligence, who she's actually working for the Syndicate. And yeah, she is great in this movie as well. She looks fantastic in this movie. And I think she's a great, a great addition to the Mission Impossible franchise, which obviously we'll see how her character progressed in the other movies. But I think she was a great addition to this franchise. Of course, we got Jeremy Renner coming back as well from Ghost Protocol. He's kind of not the same person that he was in. I'm sorry for the noise in the background, but he's kind of not the same person that he was in Ghost Protocol. He's kind of a different like person. Obviously, he's working with IMF and now he's working with the CIA, so he's kind of not. He kind of feels a little off in this movie than he does in the other movie. He's kind of more like kind of him and Ving Rhames has a lot of comedic beats with one another in this movie, which is kind of funny. But I do like Jeremy Renner. I do like Ving Rhames being more involved in the movie because he really wasn't really in Ghost Protocol. He showed up as like a cameo at the end of the movie. But I'm glad he's added into this movie. He's more involved with the story. Like I said, I do love the story as well. Like I said, I just think the story is pretty good. Let's go ahead and talk about the villain. His name is Lang, and he's basically the leader of the Syndicate. And he's an alright villain. You know, he has a presence on screen as well. He's actually shown a lot more in this movie than the other villains have been shown. Obviously, because Rebecca Ferguson is actually working with him. And I think he's pretty good. You know, he has a very, weird like voice like most all villains do. He kind of feels like a James Bond villain a little bit, but I do like Lang. I do think Lang is a decent villain. Let's go ahead and get into the action sequences. Oh my God, the action sequences in this movie are so freaking great. Like I said, the movie starts off with the plane sequence, and then we get to where Ethan Hunt gets captured. He wrestles with a couple guys with Rebecca Ferguson. Then he's on the run, and then like a 6-month time jump passed, and we got this opera scene where Simon Pegg goes to the opera. Ethan Hunt kind of brings him onto this mission. He's fighting these couple guys, and that kind of goes disarray. And then we go to, I can't think of where, Casablanca, where they find out they have to go into this secret facility that's underwater, and Ethan Hunt has to hold his breath for 3 minutes to switch the ID card so Simon Pegg can get into the room. And I kind of love that they kind of spin on itself. They're like, oh, it's impossible, and they show Ethan Hunt's face like, yeah, it's mission. I want him to say, yeah, it's Mission Impossible. But yeah, so we got that sequence, and then he actually does it. But he's on the verge of drowning. Then we get all that action sequence is very tense, very tense. You don't, obviously he's holding his breath underwater. I have a very kind of phobia when it comes to water, and seeing him basically about to drown is like it's so tense. And then after he does that, they finally revive him, and there's this motorcycle car chase sequence where Ethan Hunt literally just died. He literally just came back to life, and he's like literally like not all there, so like it's kind of a comedic thing too as well. But he's whipping the fuck out of this BMW, and obviously these motorcycles come because they're part of the Syndicate, and they're all chasing Rebecca Ferguson and stuff. And like I said, this whole action sequence is so fire. They end up crashing the car, and then Ethan Hunt hops on one of the guy's motorcycle, and the chase sequence is still going. Oh my God, this is so freaking insane. I think the action sequences in this movie is just spot on. There's like almost like 4 or 5 major action sequences in this movie. Same with like Fallout. Fallout is that kind of the same thing where it's like it just like the movie just keeps on going, and it doesn't really hold back. It doesn't hold back at all. And then like of course we got the ending scene where they capture Benji gets captured, and they find out that Ethan Hunt read the little code, so he knows all the numbers in his head to all the money and stuff. There's a nice little chase sequence with Rebecca Ferguson and Ethan Hunt, running after the guys from the Syndicate, and I think the action sequence is really good as well. And then of course it ends with Lang being captured. But I just think this movie is very well paced, very well acted. The action sequences are really spot on. I do like the writing in this movie. It's not really hard to follow, because I think with some of these movies it's really hard to follow when they start talking about the mission and stuff like that. I think it's very well played out. I think everyone works very well off each other. I think Tom Cruise and Rebecca Ferguson has really great chemistry in this movie, and I really hope they do more with them in Dead Reckoning. They obviously we'll talk about it in Fallout, but what they do with their characters in Fallout is like it's there, but we don't know. And obviously the way that movie ends, we'll see how it goes with Dead Reckoning. But I really love this movie. It's such a toss-up for me whether or not this is my favorite or Fallout is my favorite. They're so like this, man. Like, I love both of these movies. But after watching this one, man, me and my buddy Tyler were just so hyped watching this movie, man. Oh my God, this movie is so fantastic. Yeah, this is an example of a franchise where the movies just keep getting better and better and better and better. Overall, like I said, I really love this movie. If you guys have not checked it out, definitely check it out. The 4K looks really good as well. Definitely get it on 4K if you can. Christopher McQuarrie did a great job with the direction. Tom Cruise is great in this movie. Rebecca Ferguson is good in this movie. All the supporting cast is great. The action sequences are spot on. And yeah, I highly recommend watching this movie. And that is my review for Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys are new to the channel, please hit that like button. Please subscribe for more. More Mission Impossible reviews will be coming out in the near future. Hope you guys are ready for that as well. Obviously, you guys know I'm reviewing every single one leading up to Dead Reckoning Part 1. Very excited for that movie. Can't wait for it. So yeah, if you guys are new to the channel, please hit that like button. Please subscribe for more. And I'm out on this one, you guys. Peace out.